I'm back.
All your favorite wrestling shows rolled into one. Welcome to the We Book It podcast. Let's start the show.
The episode of the We Book It podcast. I am your host and Book It CEO, Virgil. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, to this episode of the We Book It podcast. We are on to Who's Next in NXT. This is our Tuesday night delight. And thank you all so much for tuning in, guys. Make sure that you comment. Let me know where you guys are watching from. Let me know your thoughts on the show. If you have any thoughts, we appreciate you all so much. All right, so Tony D'Angelo had a statement to make on the June 2nd edition of WWE NXT. He defended his NXT Championship against rookie upstart Cam Hendricks. The show also features Zaria versus Izzi Rain and the Men's Speed Championship, Lexis King defending a newcomer in Romeo Moreno. So this was set to be an important night that would continue to build the foundations of this new look NXT. So first and foremost, first match of the night, Zaria versus Izzi Rain. That's right. While Rain came in with the fire, the offensive intensity of Zaria defined the first half of the contest, forcing the Maiden of Metal to fight from underneath. Rain fought back with perseverance and focus, kicking out of the best offense her rival could throw at her. Eventually, it became too much, though, as Zaria caught Rain with a spear, followed by an F5 to seal the victory. Afterwards, Zaria threatened to beat up Rain more, but Tatum Paxley arrived to give Zaria a women's North American Championship match next week. While Zaria and Rain did not check as much as Paxley and Rain, this was still another strong showcase for the Maiden of Metal. She looked good working as the underdog throughout this contest, and she sold herself as a genuine challenger to NXT's most dangerous woman. This was always going to lead to Zaria winning, though it is surprising NXT might run Paxley versus Rain next week instead of waiting for the Great American Bash, which Shawn Michaels did announce that the Great American Bash is going to happen. That is going to be a stacked weekend of wrestling. The Great American Bash is going to go right up against Forbidden Door of AEW. So I expect AEW to probably move their show to the afternoon and give the Great American Bash that night, just for fear of splitting hairs. But we'll see what happens with that. So like I said, it was just one of those matches. The next match was supposed to be Darkstate versus Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights, but Saquon Sugars attacked Cutler James in the crowd, causing the match to be postponed. Next up, we'll do the Culling versus OTM. That's right. So despite all promises to keep his focus, Spears struggled to keep his team with Nico on track. It seemed like Nico was more interested in Izzy Dame's advice. After accidentally almost running into Nico on the apron, Spears walked into OTM's elevated double slam finisher for the loss. This match was a decent match, but also felt very rushed. Despite a multi-week build, the Culling never came off as serious threats to OTM. This may be the best, since OTM should be on the track to challenge for the NXT tag titles real soon. However, with each loss, the Culling loses already limited credibility. Spears is especially coming off as almost unnecessary to a group that he actually started. The sooner Izzy and Nico turn on Spears, the better for the potential future of the Culling. I liken this to Edge and the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day were always going to turn on Edge, even though he started the group. They obviously accelerated this and did it sooner with the injuries to multiple superstars that they felt they needed to turn Edge babyface to give Roman Reigns somebody to work with on his way out the door. So Edge ended up going that route and going over to SmackDown and being kicked out of the Judgment Day. But yeah, like I said, Shawn Spears is somebody who is talented. He has wrestled for a very, very long time. He's a very, very good talent. He's a good hand. Just always has been. I loved him as Ty Dillinger. The culling overheard the conversation and related it to their own communication issues. Is agreed to put her title dreams on hold for the culling in the back. Despite rarely wrestling recently, OTM got a good reaction from the NXT crowd. Spears got some accidental color late before the finish of the match. Afterward, a frustrated Nico and Izzy stood over Spears, looking about ready to turn on him right then and there. Next up, we have Jackson Drake versus Tate Wilder. While Drake did not take Wilder seriously at first, Wilder made him pay for it, picking up the pace from the start of the match. Wilder's TKO got the first near fall of the night after a power bomb. Then Wilder hit a corkscrew splash for another near fall. Listen, I'll tell you something about Wilder. He has so much talent, guys. It's so unbelievable. Love watching what he does in the ring and how he just is able to do these moves. Wilder took out Ricky Smokes and Brad Baylor. Maya Lockwood laid him out on the apron. Drake followed up with that with a 450 splash for another victory for him and another loss for Wilder. Like I told you guys, this was two great athletes that had too little time and too much interference to actually shine. Drake is racking up wins, but his in ring efforts are obscured by the overwhelming interference of his partners. While Wilder continues to impress, though, he needs to do more than hit the same basic offense as at the close of every match before he loses. So we'll see what happens with that. EK Prosper tried to hype up Wilder before his match, but Cam Hendricks interrupted to mock Wilder's early losses. With each loss that Wilder takes, he comes off more frustrated, which needs to lead to somewhere, maybe a heel turn in the future, or maybe something where he ends up just going off. Next up, the next spot was Kehlani Jordan and Kendall Gray agreeing to their number one contenders match next week. So Lola Vice talked up her win over Izzy Dame, turning the focus on her next challenger. Kehlani Jordan then arrived to clearly state she wanted the next shot at Lola Vice. Jordan questioned why Vice was loved while she was hated and ignored, despite her own impressive accomplishments. Kendall Gray arrived with Ren Sinclair, reminding them that she pinned both of them in the Iron Survivor match, which is a good thing to know. I like that NXT when they do their matches or when they do their storylines, they incorporate important pieces that happened in the past. They don't just forget that type of stuff because that definitely was something that was important. Um, Vice told them to fight next week, and she would fight the winner at the Great American Bash. So Jordan stole Vice's NXT Women's Championship, causing her to deliver a spinning back fist that accidentally hit Kendall Gray instead. Um, Again, one thing about NXT is they do struggle with the in-ring promo segments. The talent always seems more natural backstage than working in the ring. So that's definitely something that they have to get better at. Kendall Gray struggles to find comfort between natural and rehearsed in these segments, leading to awkward laughs in the middle of her address. So we move on from there to the men's speed championship. It's Lexis King with the birthright featuring versus Romeo Moreno. So Romeo pushed the pace against King early in this contest, but King found all ways to slow it down, taking advantage of the full 5-minute clock. After King escaped Ramiro's Rings of Saturn submission, Birthright tried to get involved, but the challenger dived onto everyone at ringside. Back in the ring, Ramiro fought out of a Canadian Maple Leaf, but missed the springboard moonsault to follow. King hit a drive-by into the coronation to win his set with just a second to spare. King is an odd competitor for the 5-minute match, seeing as his offense does not flow in the short time frame. The original point of the speed title was for it to be fast-paced, almost to be like a cruiserweight type of match. So having Lexus King be your champion for that, I feels like they put a title on him just to have him for a title, have a title for, aesthetics, but it doesn't, you know, to me, it doesn't really work. I don't know. Maybe that's just my thoughts. Vic Joseph and Booker T spent a lot of time during this match actually arguing over how fast Lexus King actually was. Um, Next up, we got Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights versus Darkstate's Osiris Griffin, and Dion Lennox. So while this match had to be changed due to the attack of Saquon Sugars earlier in the night, Lennox and Griffin looked more dangerous than ever. Heights and Bourne could not recreate their old magic as a team. Bourne got knocked off the apron, followed by Darkstate Doomsday Device for the win. This was a good tag team match, very quick, but still it served its purpose. It didn't need to be long. It needed to make Darkstate look more dangerous than ever after what they did to Saquon Sugars. Also, I like the fact that Saquon Sugars is basically going to pick these dudes off one by one to get his revenge on everybody. Sugars watched Darkstate from the elevator stage after the match. So we'll see what happens with that. Another good thing to point is Natty met Jada Parker backstage and called her soft. Now it's time, folks, for your main event. That's right, Tony D'Angelo versus Cam Hendricks for the NXT Championship. So Hendricks started fast with the Showtime kick for a near fall, setting the early pace where he dominated the champion. D'Angelo found his focus after the commercial break and began throwing around the challenger with some intent focus. The champions forget about it, picked up a near fall. Hendricks tried to stack up D'Angelo with his feet on the ropes, but the referee caught the cheat. Another Showtime kick followed by a set-out powerbomb put another near fall to the challenger. But Naraku and a late arriving Mason Rook made sure Hendricks could not cheat to win, setting the stage for a back body drop on the announce table and spine buster in the ring for Tony D'Angelo to retain his NXT championship. Naraku himself presented the championship to D'Angelo while Rook watched from ringside as NXT confirmed Naruku versus Rook as a number one contenders match next week. You got to believe whoever wins that is going to end up facing Tony D'Angelo at the Great American Bash for the NXT championship. So, like I said, it was one of those things where Tony D'Angelo is clear far and away the better wrestler in this match. You could definitely tell that the young kid was still pretty green, but I like the fact that they tried to give him a shot for the NXT championship and that he got some offense in on the champion. It wasn't just, you know, the champion dominating him. So again, it was one of those things where, like I said, this was one of those matches that you wanted to see how it would turn out and who would win. Obviously, D'Angelo has to help to keep the belt for right now. But again, just one of those good matches, a good title defense for D'Angelo, making him look strong, but also allowing somebody else to get offense in too. So again, I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure that you guys like, share, and subscribe so that you never miss another episode of the We Book It podcast. Coach will be with you tomorrow doing the recap for the All Elite Wrestling. I appreciate you guys. Until next time, keep those booking pencils sharp and keep on booking.